Conservation Careers Fair. We are streaming to you live, and if you have any questions or you missed any of our sessions, please feel free to type in your questions in the comment section below. The segment we're having now is called Organizational Spotlights, and our first organization for today is WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature. We have Tiza on ready to make a presentation for us today. So what she'll be talking to us about is what WWF does and what kind of potential career paths are in the organization. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment sections and tag your friends, make sure everybody is on the session. Tiza, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm glad that you have me here. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, great. So Tiza is a project officer at WWF, and I will hand over the screen to her now.
Are you able to see my screen now? Okay, so I'm very excited to be here. Thank you very much for having me here. It's such a pleasure to speak to everybody present in the room. So my name's Tiza Zyambo, and I am a project officer at WWF Zambia. And I'm very happy to share my screen with you right now. Yeah, so I'm going to share a bit about WWF and the project I'm currently running, and then I'll share a bit about career paths in WWF Zambia and also in the conservation industry at large. So firstly, I would say, what can we say about WWF? You've probably heard about WWF everywhere, and I think these three letters are very common, but what does the three letters stand for? So WWF simply stands for Worldwide Fund for Nature. And it was founded in 1961. We are basically present in over 100+ countries, and we have over 5,000+ staff worldwide. And then currently WWF has over 5 million supporters. Yeah. So what is our mission and vision? The mission of WWF is simply to conserve nature and reduce the most pressing threats to the diversity of life on Earth. So our vision is simply to build a future in which people live in harmony with nature. Okay, so WWF has a global focus, and we also have a national focus as WWF Zambia. So our global focus concerns 6 major goals, and that goes around oceans, goes around fresh water, and goes around forests, as well as wildlife, food, climate change, and energy. So we operate, all our efforts are basically around these 6 goals. And then we have 3 core drivers, and that is governance, and that is finance, and that is markets. Okay, so WWF Zambia focus. Our focus is around fresh water. We have a focus around forests, wildlife, food, climate change, and energy. WWF Zambia's efforts are all centered around conserving the fresh water, conserving the forests and the natural world, conserving wildlife, ensuring food security in the most vulnerable areas of Zambia, and also contributing to the fight against climate change and the climate and nature crisis in general. We also have a focus on energy as well. So our current programs centered around freshwater. At WWF Zambia, we have the freshwater program, where we have a number of initiatives around the around the Luangwa River, sorry. And we also have a number of initiatives in the Kafue as well, not only in the parks, but we also operate in the rivers as well, and just conserving the fresh water in those areas. So those are focal landscapes in terms of priorities when it comes to fresh water. We are in the Luangwa, we're also in the Kafue, then we're also in the lower Zambezi and upper Zambezi as well. Then we also focus on wildlife. We have the wildlife program. In the wildlife program, we're really trying to ensure that wildlife is conserved, and we are also trying to ensure the restoration of wildlife. We know that in Zambia and in Africa in general, we have lost quite a number of species, and our wildlife program it aims at restoring nature, the wildlife, into the national parks and back into Zambia to ensure a healthy ecosystem. So the other part is the governance and strategic partnerships. We believe that in order to really achieve our goals around freshwater, around forests, around wildlife and food, climate change, as well as energy, we know that our efforts would actually go a long way if we integrated the aspect of governance and strategic partnerships. So we really thrive at creating strong partnerships with different people in order to achieve our goals. And that's why this governance and strategic partnerships pillar is there. We actually believe in the slogan that says, "Together possible." And that is highly around ensuring that we create the right partnerships that encourage key decision makers and government leaders to be on board in achieving our goals and our mission as well. And then we have also a few cross-cutting issues that we focus on, and that is the forest, that's the climate and energy, food, and we also have youth and gender as well. So as WWF Zambia, really, our vision is that by 2030, the environment and natural resources and biodiversity in Zambia are secured and sustainably managed for people and nature. Because what we wish to do is create an environment where both people and nature thrive and live in harmony. Okay, so I think I mentioned earlier that I am a project officer at WWF, and I'm currently coordinating a project named ZICALA, but ZICALA simply stands for Zambia Youth for Conservation, Agriculture, and Livelihood Action. So the project that I'm currently coordinating was launched on the 1st October in 2017, and the Zambia Youth for Conservation, Agriculture, and Livelihood Action is basically a 5-year project in the districts of Serenje, in Mukushi, in Chitambo of Central Province, Zambia. And then the project is, so what are we doing in this project? We're basically building the capacity of about 420 youth leaders to become active and effective change agents in youth-led campaigning. It could be on social media and just also in person on environmental issues, sustainable income generation, and food security as well. Okay, so I've talked about this ZICALA project, but who are our partners on this project? Like I say, WWF strongly believes in partnerships and doing things together to achieve sustainable development and to achieve our goals as an organization, as well as contribute to development both in Africa and in the world at large. So our partners on ZICALA project are basically Gaia Education, the Young Emerging Farmers Initiative, and as WWF. So the Zaikala project is basically harnessing the expertise in community building of Gaia education, and then also agroecology and livelihoods, and also WWF's wealth of knowledge in conservation, advocacy, and communication. And we also leverage on the experience of YEFI in the youth-led programs and young farmers networks. So that is our Litu model that we're currently using in 3 districts of Central Province, that is Mukushi, Chitambo, and Serenje. Okay, so this project basically is contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's contributing to the achievement of several interlocking sustainable SDGs, such as no poverty and quality education, and also zero hunger. We're also looking at the goal on decent work and economic growth. And we're also looking at reduced inequalities, climate action, life on land. So the youths are basically making efforts to contribute to these goals. And WWF, YEFI, and Gaia Education are supporting this initiative. So the Zaikala change agents, we like to call them change agents because these are youths that are driving change in their communities. These are young people who are passionate about making a difference in their communities. These are people that are really burdened by issues of poverty, of hunger, and food insecurity, and want to take action on these issues. So what exactly do they do? So the empowered youth are working with households to increase food security through the diversification and abundance of nutritional farm produce. And 27 community enterprises. And we're also focusing on things such as beekeeping, vegetable production, food preservation, and poultry. So the Zaikala change agents are trained to be active beekeepers who are conserving nature. By conserving nature, I mean we face a number of issues in conservation, such as deforestation. We're talking about illegal timber logging, but what do we do about this? So these people, the youths of Central Province, are taking initiative through beekeeping to conserve their forests. Instead of cutting down the trees for charcoal, they produce honey, which contributes to their food and also is an income generation activity. And they're also doing vegetable production. The kind of vegetable production that these youths are doing is basically organic, sustainable agriculture, because we have a really high focus on the nutritional farm produce. So we really focus on ensuring nutrition of vegetables and that all the agriculture is done sustainably. So we also look at food preservation. The young people are involved in what we call seed savings. They're able to save seeds such as tomato seeds, even seed from green paper, and replant those seeds. And then they save them as well. And in other situations where they have vegetables, they're also doing solar drying, where they preserve their vegetables for future use and also sell it and gain an income in other situations. And then they're also doing poultry. So we have about 27 communities that are running poultry houses, which they constructed themselves, which is very impressive for the youths. And they're basically running these poultry houses and getting an income out of this. But as WWF, what we look at is the larger picture. Instead of cutting down trees for charcoal or just contributing to deforestation, we provide an alternative livelihoods for the people who want to solve their real life situations and real life circumstances. Okay, so how are the Zaikala youths doing it? They are basically conducting campaigns and programs to combat Central Province ecosystem fragmentation and involving about 150,000 provincial youths. So these are people that have gained the skill in poultry, in beekeeping, in sustainable organic agriculture, but they refuse to keep it to themselves. And they say, we want to take action. We want to take it across Central Province. We want to share this information, and we want our communities to develop. And as a result, we have seen other people gain opportunities in decent jobs, which is highly contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. We have seen changes from the conventional agriculture to conservation agriculture, which has been great, and we have seen less deforestation. We have seen more food in the communities as opposed to lacking food and sleeping hungry. So this is what the Zaikala youths are doing in Central Province, Zambia. So how are the youths doing it? So sorry, this is a reputation actually. As you can see, there's a picture here. This is a picture of a youth and her group members that are demonstrating solar drying of vegetables. So they're able to dry different vegetables to ensure food preservation and to also ensure food security in their communities. So they do this, they actually conduct these very practical campaigns, not word of mouth. They actually demonstrate how to do certain things, how to plant certain seeds, how to preserve certain seeds, how to save certain seeds. So they also advocate on issues concerning climate change and the contributing factors to climate change, such as deforestation, and they offer alternative livelihoods that they are practicing. So it's really a joy to see them actually spread the information on conservation in a more practical way and in a way that is actually impacting livelihoods. So I have a few exciting photos. So they do a lot of agriculture farming. Those are quite recent photos of their carrots. Yeah, and we have one youth who has a backyard garden. So he has these cabbages that he sells, sometimes eats at home for home consumption. And we have the hands there with seeds. So those are youths just displaying their seeds. They notice that in their communities, local seed varieties are basically diminishing. They're becoming no more. They can't see them in their communities. So what they did is sort of try to form community seed banks to preserve their local seeds. And those are some seeds that they brought over for the community seed bank. And then we have the exciting one, the beekeeping, where we have these really cool people in protective gears, white protective gears, and we have a beehive somewhere there. So these are some of the Zaikala youths who are just some of the 420 youths who are participating in the beekeeping practice. Okay, lastly, I'm going to end to say that there is enough room in conservation for any young person that is aspiring to make an impact. So go for it. Believe in yourself and your ability to accomplish your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiza. That was a very informative presentation. I really like the last part, that there is space for any young person in conservation, and we just need to put our minds to it and work hard. That's really, really exciting. So we have some great questions, and I will go straight to the, I'll go straight to something that I think you already mentioned, but because it's online and some people came in during the conversation when it was already along the way. We have a question here. Someone is very interested in the Zaikala project, and they're asking, how does one become a Zaikala agent?
Thank you very much. Anybody can become a Zaikala agent. Yeah, so like I said, this is a project, and a project mostly has a start and a finish. So we have been working with the youths of Central Province, but to be a change agent, you don't need to be specifically a Zykala change agent. So I would say, how could you become a change agent in conservation, maybe? And it's very simple. Number one is simply to be passionate about making an impact in your community. And number two is to really understand the situation that you want to take action for. And number three is to believe in your ability to bring about that change, just like the Zykala change agents believed that they could solve the issue of hunger, believed that they could practice more sustainable initiatives rather than deforestation. So what is that inner drive that you have, and where is it leading you to? So I think those three things are very critical in becoming any change agent. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm pretty sure everybody or anyone listening has picked up on how one can become a Zykala agent. And again, this is something that I think you already mentioned, but it's always nice to just go back to the questions just so everybody or anyone that just joined us along the conversation can also catch up. A question we have is what projects is WWF working on? Anything off the top of your head, anything you think a Zambian youth, fresh graduates or somebody hoping to switch careers would be interested in?
So we have quite a number of projects, but one exciting thing is actually the programs. So we have the Combating Illegal Wildlife Crime. It's a project under the Wildlife Program. I think this is exciting because it really focuses on restoring nature and really restocking the national parks. So they have exciting activities where they focus mostly on rewilding Zambia, so to say. So we talk about ensuring that issues such as human-wildlife conflict are dealt with, illegal timber logging are dealt with, and those fall under the wildlife, combating wildlife crime project as well.
Okay, great, thank you so much for that. And the most common question that we keep getting is, does WWF offer internships? If yes, how does one go about this?
Yes. WWF offers internships. And I would actually say I started as an intern myself. Yeah, so it's an exciting question because I started in 2019. I was just straight from university and I set out as a project intern. So I was on this really exciting project. And with time, I grew into greater opportunities. I think I put in the work to get me where I am. And yeah, so opportunities are actually there in WWF and internships are there. Actually, we want to work with young people, want to work with fresh minds, want to work with people who are passionate. So we're constantly providing internships, and we really take our internships seriously because we want to provide the best learning experience for our interns. So we actually mostly even advertise on Go Zambia Jobs. You can be on the lookout, you can create an alert somewhere there, and we're definitely taking in interns most of the times.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I too was asked, and I found it very, very interesting, and it fits in well with what we're talking about. Can you give us 5 conservation jobs or careers that are linked to WWF? 5, or it could be less. The first that comes to your mind.
I'll start with myself. There's you could be a project officer. Yeah, you could be a project officer with background in different fields. You know, we like to have a wealth of knowledge in terms of background, your educational background and your experience as well. So I know when you hear WWF, you think of, oh, I just need to do something in environment for me to to find myself in WWF. But it's also what you bring to the organization. We value working with youths, and we value the minds of the young people. So there's a project officer, there's a conservation manager. This is way higher, yeah. But for entry level, most of the opportunities in WWF could be either a project officer on the wildlife program. So you could be wildlife project officer, you could be communications project officer, you could be a project officer on any project that is running in the conservation field. So we have those key programs, the freshwater, the wildlife programs, and they have different projects where you have different positions. So it's not necessarily you will be an environmental project officer or environmentalist and everything, but it's mostly associated with our programs. Yeah.
Okay, you did a great job with the Zaikala project, because now everybody is asking about it. And there's a question here: are there any intentions of rolling out the Zaikala project to other provinces?
Yes. The Zaikala model actually has proven to be very effective. We have seen quite a huge impact on the livelihoods of the people. And our goal as WWF is to extend it in different WWF focal landscapes and different parts of Zambia as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Tiza. It's been a pleasure having you here today. And if anybody is just joining us, please feel free to go up on our page. We are still having conversations, and we've had quite a few exciting conversations up the page. Please feel free to go through that. We were talking to Tiza Ziambo, who is project officer at WWF. Any last words for our participants or our audience, Tiza?
Yeah, I think I'll just echo on the last thing that the last quote that I put in my presentation. I said, you really need to believe in your ability to make an impact. And also, as somebody who is probably seeking to have a career in conservation, you really need to look at aligning your passion also with your skills. What is it that you're passionate about, and what steps do you need to take to go where you want to go? Yeah, I personally have a background in education, but I knew that I am so passionate about the environment, and I knew that I had to grow my knowledge in the environment. I needed to align myself with the goals and the visions of environmental conservation. Yeah, so alignment with your goals is very important. And yeah, and never doubt your ability to just achieve your dreams. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much. Never doubt your ability. You heard it here from Tiza. This brings us the end to this session, but please stay tuned. We'll be back with something even more exciting. Thank you so much, Tiza.